Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. Today on the show, I have Brian King, CEO of Lotus Markets, as my guest. We're going to be learning about his business, his journey in business, best practices, and challenges he's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to own and operate a business. Hi, Brian. So great to meet you. Thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Great to meet you too.
Of course. Well, very excited to dive into all things business. But before we get started with that, let's share a little bit about you with our audience. So take us back as far as you want and share a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've spent most of my career in the stock exchange business. And so I was fortunate to be a part of a startup here in Kansas City. That's where I'm based in a company called Bats Exchange. So Bats started in about 2005. I'm fortunate, like I said, to be a part of that startup team. We grew to be the second largest stock exchange in the world by volume. And then ultimately were acquired in by the Chicago Board of Options. So that was a great exit for the state of Kansas. I think it was at the time the biggest exit that we had had. I left around the time of that exit to go to the New York Stock Exchange. I was there for about 5 years. And then I left the NYSE to start Lotus in 2020. So started it up during kind of the throes of COVID, which was interesting in and of itself. But yeah, so effectively we're kind of like a stock exchange for alternative investments. So we help make illiquid investments more liquid, and then we also have a transfer agent business for those alternative investments as well. So that's managing cap tables, making payments, et cetera.
Oh, very cool. Well, I've always been curious about stock markets and kind of that world. So it's going to be a great conversation. So let's kind of shift gears. So what was the year the company was founded?
So we founded in 2020.
Okay, that's what you had said. Yes, like we're the right year when all the craziness was going on. And were you part of the company from the get-go or were you brought on later?
I was, yeah. So I'm founder, CEO. We started raising capital in 2020, which was actually really interesting because most of the people that were part of our pre-seed investors, we didn't even meet in person. So which made raising capital interesting, but surprisingly, it went fairly smoothly. And we started actually hiring our first team members in January of 21. So our first team members, we had a couple of people join us, an engineer and somebody in operations that started January 1st.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's very cool. So when you started the company, do you have any partners at all or and other investors in it?
Yeah, so when I started, I had a co-founder with me. He came from the industry of alternatives. I came from the industry of stock markets, and so his experience was kind of knowing the product set, and mine was more knowing how things operated. And so then again, like you said, we brought in investors. Most of the investors that we had in our pre-seed were Kansas City based, so they weren't necessarily deep in the industry. So there wasn't a tremendous amount of support there initially from outside investors, other than just capital.
Oh, wonderful. And now how many current employees do you have?
So we have 19 full-time employees. We have a couple of consultants that help on a couple of other things, but yes, we're up to 19 full-time.
That's awesome. That's a huge growth in the last few years. So now looking at your customers, like your clients. If I were to say walk through your doors or find you online, how would I know I'd be a great fit for you?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. We have a very wide range of customers, everything from an individual investor to financial advisors, to institutions, to sponsors, so sponsors of funds. So like everything from a retail investor all the way up to a firm like Blackstone. So it's, which is one of the biggest firms in the financial markets today. So it's a very wide range, but each person plays a different role in what we actually do.
Oh, okay. I'm so curious about it because it's something I've been wanting to tap into myself. So, now looking at the company, what you're currently doing, how are you marketing? Where are you marketing? Is it word of mouth or are you online?
Yeah, so marketing is, as I mentioned, we have a lot of different people who we're addressing. So marketing can be a little bit challenging because we're trying to be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But we have our marketing strategy is we do first and foremost, we do some videos, we do some communications. A lot of it goes through LinkedIn. The things that we've found most success with is using PR. So being able to communicate with reporters and people who cover the financial markets, et cetera. This happens to be a fairly buzzy topic, alternative investments, and so we've had quite a good run of success in being able to get some PR around our business. So I think that's kind of where we lead, or trying to be able to get things, putting out press releases, but then seeing who can pick up those press releases and tell a story.
Oh, yeah, the storytelling is huge, especially, I mean, in any business, but especially what you're doing. I think that's such a massive component because you want to be able to share about what's going on, especially when you hear of alternative markets. I think of like music or food or some kind of like creative arts. I have no idea. So, yeah, what are some of the alternative markets that you're in right now?
Yeah, so I would say one of the biggest areas of alternatives is real estate. So real estate, but think of it more like funds. You know, there's most of the things that we do work with are funds or investments that were distributed through the financial network. So whether it's a broker or a RIA, registered investment advisor, so somebody who's doing advisory services for clients. Most of the products that were raised through that would be, let's say, real estate or private credit, or maybe some energy funds. There's a wide range of different types of products. I would say there's maybe two areas that we don't do today. One, we don't currently do anything as it relates to cryptocurrencies. We don't trade that. That would be technically considered an alternative. And then another area that we don't cover is private companies. So we're not trading SpaceX today. That is an area, again, also that we would have an interest in at some point in the future, but mostly we do things that are related to fund structures.
Okay, okay, wonderful. That clears a lot because it's like very for someone like me who's very green at this, it's like really nice to hear some of the things that you're doing. And now looking at where you want to go in business, where do you see the company growing to in the next 3 years?
Yeah, so over the next 3 years, there's several different things that we anticipate moving into that are tangential to the business that we already have. And so whether it's fund admin services, which is kind of an accounting role that plays that would play into it. I think we're also right now at the point of maximum growth efforts. So I think, we've really started to hit our stride and being able to have success in what we've already built. And so I think, the next year or two are going to be really focused on growth. How do we really kind of, put gas on the fire that we've already built, just to really get us to grow in a fairly rapid way.
Now, what are some of the challenges with growth? I know that can be, expansion is always beautiful, but how has it been challenging and how are you preparing for growth?
Yeah, so growth can be challenging. I think a lot of the things that we've accomplished to date, we've overcome a lot of obstacles because we've built something that candidly hasn't existed before. And so it's one thing to go into a market that is already fully established, but creating a secondary market for alternatives, it really doesn't exist in an automated, technology forward way. So some of those headwinds we've already overcome. The area for us to be able to grow is being able to strike strategic partnerships where people will be able to work with us. We know that independently we're going to be successful with or without partnerships, but I believe the best success is going to come if we're able to strike partnerships with other people, with other firms.
Oh, definitely. I always feel like two heads are better than one. Oh, very cool. So, what are some ways you're finding those partners and making sure they're the right fit?
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time. I never turn down a meeting. And so it's one of the if there's an opportunity to have a conversation, it doesn't need to be a long conversation, but hey, is there a way for us to be able to work together? And so I do a lot of networking, like I said, have a lot of meetings that are already established. I go out to several different events throughout the year, and do a fair amount of traveling just to be able to have those conversations. We're fortunate now that we have a lot of people that do outreach to us and are constantly looking to see if they can find ways to partner with us. And you just have to weigh which partnerships are going to likely yield the best return. And so it takes a lot of diligence, and some collaboration even internally to decide what's the right area for us to move forward.
Oh, definitely. And have you noticed any challenges that you're going through with that or something you're working through currently?
So I would say that we went through some challenges, making some decisions earlier this year that we are just on the other side of. And so a lot of experiences in being able to negotiate contracts. When you're aligning with another firm, you each have your own different priorities. What are the things that are most important to you? And so being able to go through that, and we went through it fairly quickly. It was a very meaningful partnership that we just went through, and but being able to make sure that you're aligning on all different areas, all different facets, and protecting your company while it's very important for them to protect their company as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, kudos for getting through those growth moments. They come and go. So now I want to switch back into the your internal team and leadership. So how are you leading? Like, what's your leadership style to your team?
My leadership styles, I try to be very approachable. I try to be very collaborative. I care very deeply about the team that's around me. I want people to feel like they have a voice. But I also, each person that comes to that role, I never want to be the smartest person in the room on every given topic. So I care deeply about making sure that there are other people that know very deeply, like technology. I want somebody who has a really deep understanding and passion for technology that's going to lead a team, that also themselves is collaborative, right? So it's for me, it's getting as many people in the room that are smart as I possibly can, that really have deep foundational knowledge in the area that they're covering.
Oh, definitely. That's a huge golden nugget of this conversation for other listeners out there is, yeah, surround yourself with smart people, surround yourself with capable people. I think that's huge. And have you noticed any of the team members that you have currently like really rising up or becoming leaders within the company?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think specifically towards my chief technology officer. He is somebody who is I trust immensely. He's somebody that he's very unique in the sense that not only is he very gifted from an engineering perspective, but he also is incredibly gifted in being able to come in and understand a business concept and then build something for that business concept. He understands things graphically, how to display it, and then also can communicate it very well. It's rare that you find an engineer that can do two of those things, let alone somebody that can do all four of those things. And I think the thing that's been most exciting for me is to also see him grow, to your point, as a leader. So now he's building a team. I think we now are up to, we're getting ready to hire our 10th engineer. And so that's our team. Obviously, as I mentioned before, we have 19 people on our team today. So that next person would be our 20th, and half of our company will be engineers. So that's a big representation. It's a big team for him to be able to lead, and he's done an incredible job with it.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's very cool. Well, this has been a great conversation so far. Now I want to take us into a fun part of the Q&A called our rapid fire questions, where I'm going to ask you four questions and answer very top of mind.
Perfect.
All right. Question number one is, what is the key to success for you?
Key to success, I kind of already mentioned it, but it's surrounding yourself with people that you trust and people who are really smart. I think it's really about the people around you.
Definitely. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Other business owners, outside of surrounding yourself with those really smart people, I would say it's you have to be incredibly passionate about what you're doing, because there are going to be difficult moments. There's going to be things that are going to be really challenging. That's going to make you feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. But persistence, commitment, passion, those types of things are going to get you through those low spots.
Definitely. Number three, this is kind of a fun one. What is, it could be a piece of content, a podcast, a book, a show, anything that's resonated with you recently?
So interestingly, I'm reading a book right now by Andrew Ross Sorkin. He just put it out, 1929. I have found it to be really interesting, to be able to understand what happened during the depression, the things leading up to the depression, and the things that followed after it. So I'm almost finished with it at this point. So I don't know how it ends. I'm just kidding. I do know how it ends, but anyway, so no, it's to me, being able to, a lot of people discount history. And but for me, being able to look at what happened in the past, historical events really helps you understand framework and what set the tone for what is happening today and what's going to happen in the future.
Mm, I 100% agree with you there. I think we can look to history for a lot of answers. That's cool. Well, thank you for sharing about the book. And the final question, now you can take your time on this one a little bit. If I gave you a magic wand and you could wave it and rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
One area of our business, if I had a magic wand, it'd be to create more time. One of the areas of growth that we were talking about, it's very unusual that that an engineer has the ability to have a direct impact on top line growth.
Mm,
And so, but in our particular case, there's a lot of things that if we were to build it, it would open up a lot of opportunities. And sometimes you just have to make decisions about what you're going to build first. And so there's a lot of things that we're just anxious to be able to have this new feature, this new development. And so more time would certainly be a magic wand that I'd want to be able to have, just because, again, there's opportunity for us to grow our business with new features, structures, and product lines.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, time is really that one resource that we can't make get back. Everything else
Right.
we can. Oh, that's a good one. Well, thank you for sharing that. Brian, this has been a great conversation. Before we get to our final question of the day, how can folks get connected with you and your business online?
Yeah, so they can visit us at lotusmarkets.com. That's LODAS markets, markets.com. They can also look at our social handles, in particular, LinkedIn. We put a lot of content out there. And so people can certainly visit us there. They can always email me, Brian at lotusmarkets.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Brian. Now, for this final question, take all the time you want with this one. What is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring. That's a good question. I think I am most inspired by I think candidly, I'm very inspired by watching other people who are building businesses, right? So for me, being able to watch other people that have had success, that have kind of walked the path before me. I've had the opportunity to be a part of a lot of different startups, but there's a community in Kansas City of people who have built companies. And being able to watch and see what they've been able to accomplish and see kind of the things that they've been able to do, the successes, again, talking about things that are difficult, hurdles to overcome, just being able to have the ability to have conversations with people that have kind of been there and done that. And whether it's a success or whether it was a failure, just being able to learn from that and just understanding what persistence it took to be able to get to the other side of success.
Ah, well, that is inspiring to me, and I'm sure many more. So, thank you so much, Brian, for this great conversation. It's been a joy to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.